I tried more K-beauty products and I'm talking about my favorites today. There's PDRN, titrated centella, sunscreens, and a really nice lip product. I'm Michelle, chemist and skincare nerd. All these products are available from Stylevana, today's video sponsor. They have tons of Asian products at great prices. Make sure they're in stock if you want your parcel to be shipped quickly. My discount code is here. Let me know what you think of these products if you've tried them and what products you want me to try next time. The first product today is Haru Haru Wonder's Rose PDRN Firming Serum with Retinal. Right now, PDRN is probably the most hyped up skincare ingredient. So many people have asked me to talk about it. You will see PDRN everywhere. PDRN stands for polydeoxyribonucleotides. Basically what it is chopped up DNA that's between 50 and 1,500 kilodaltons. The original PDRN in skincare came from salmon sperm. This was mostly used in injections. And the reason they use salmon is because of this injection thing to reduce reactions. Salmon DNA is similar enough to human DNA and it's easy to extract and purify nicely, so that means when you're injecting it, the risk of problems is lower. With the injectables, the effects they're known for are general anti-aging, things like plumping and hydration. They also claim to increase fibroblasts. These are the cells that produce collagen and elastin in the dermis, which is the lower layer of skin. So with all this injection hype, there's also been a lot of interest in putting it on your skin as well. And the research there is still really preliminary, but they did find some interesting effects. This kind of thing where there is a trending ingredient and it gets tested and then it has some benefits, this is a pretty common story in the beauty industry. If there's something that's trending, they will test lots and lots of different versions of ingredients that they can sell under that banner, and some of them will have benefits. Sometimes they work in the same way as the original ingredients, sometimes they don't. I don't think they've worked this out for PDRN yet. This is what happened with apple stem cells, for example. Obviously, we are not apples. We are not going to benefit from the stem cells actually producing more apple cells, but they do seem to have some other benefits for skin. Now, the structure of DNA is pretty basic. That is a little joke there for my nerds in the audience who know that DNA is made of bases. Basically, there are just 4 different bases that you put onto a sugar backbone. This is the case for DNA from any species, so for putting on skin, I don't really think it matters what the source is, whether it's from a plant or an animal, although I guess it would be kind of weird if it came from a human. Rose PDRN is one of the most popular ones in Korean skincare right now. Again, there's just not that much research on PDRN in general, so when I try out a brand new trending ingredient like this, I look for whether a lot of people I trust are saying good things about it, and I usually also try to start with a product that has an active that has a different purpose that I want to be using anyway. For PDRN, the hype is mostly about it being soothing, hydrating, and brightening, and I really love retinal. Retinal is a form of vitamin A that is gentler than tretinoin, and a lot of skincare products now have it in a stabilized form. This has 0.1% retinal in liposomes, which are like little bubbles that protect the retinal from breaking down before you get it onto your skin. I think it's really clever that they have the PDRN with retinal because retinal is sometimes irritating, so this overall formula can potentially make that retinal less harsh on skin, and that is exactly what I found with this. This is one of the most gentle retinal products I've tried. I had a little bit of skin peeling with it, which is standard for me with any sort of retinol product, but it didn't feel irritating or stingy at all. My barrier just seemed really happy. This is an unfragranced product. It has a lightweight and slightly creamy serum sort of texture. It's in a handy little pump bottle, it doesn't smell like too much, and it does have some clinical testing to back up its effects, mostly with elasticity and pores. Overall, I really enjoyed this product and it made me a lot more open to trying out other PDRN products. The next product is the Mixum White Rice Peeling Ampule. If you've seen a few of my videos, you'll know that I love peeling gels. They are fantastic for removing dead skin. They are essentially one of the most gentle and thorough types of physical exfoliants I've tried. Once I started using peeling gels, I just could not go back to scrubs. They are basically like a scrub, where the scrubbing particles are soft little fibers. This product is kind of like a cross between a peeling gel and a skincare serum. On the active ingredients side, with the serum, it has rice PDRN. Like I said, PDRN is super hyped up. It is just in everything now. There's also a bunch of other rice ingredients, and so overall, it is really designed for soothing, hydrating, and brightening. I really like using this before sunscreen and makeup just to get rid of unevenness in my skin tone and texture, making my base look as nice as possible before I put everything else on. I used this before I put on my sunscreen and makeup for this video. If I have dry skin flakes, which happens a lot with me, it helps the flakes break off at the base without exposing like new raw skin that will sting. The hydration also makes my pores look a lot smaller because it's plumping up the skin around the pores. It's also really good for fine lines. This serum also has a really nice immediate brightening effect, and I think it might be because of the rice starch. It's kind of like adding a really fine translucent powder all over. It just makes my skin look really nice and even, like the best version of itself, like I'm starting with the freshest canvas. Originally it felt kind of weird to be using a peeling gel in a dropper bottle rather than in the standard tube. But once I used this a couple of times, the dropper made a lot of sense to me. This is really concentrated, so you really don't need that much to get peeling. I only needed about 3 fat-ish drops to cover my whole face. It's also a lot easier to control how much is coming out of the package. I feel like with regular peeling gels in a tube, I end up wasting a lot of product. Overall, big fan of this. This is probably one of my favorite peeling products now. Next up, we have the Skin 104 Madagascar Centella TECA Ampule and Cream. TECA stands for Titrated Extract of Centella Asiatica. Centella is a plant that is really popular in Korean skincare for soothing and supporting skin recovery and repair. Now, the reason TECA is cool is because of natural extracts. Natural extracts are a mix of maybe dozens, hundreds of different substances, and only a few of those are the ones that are active on your skin. How much of the actives you have is really variable with natural stuff. It depends on tons of things like the growing conditions, the variety, how the extract has been processed. So think about how apple juice from different brands can taste completely different. So this titration part is where it gets standardized. They measure the actives and they add more back in to make sure all of them are at consistent concentrations. It has a consistent effect on skin. So in the product, in the ingredient list, you'll actually see the actives individually listed. For these products, it is these 3. Ampule in Korean skincare basically just means a watery serum. The texture of this is really lightweight and watery. It really isn't sticky at all. I generally can't stand things that are really heavy or sticky on my skin during the day, and I found that this was really nice to use during the day as well as at night. I found that I didn't have to use a lot of this to get a really soothing and hydrating effect, and that meant that it stayed really lightweight and I could layer it with a lot of other products. This cream is also really cool. I feel like this sort of cream really needs a different name, because when I see the word cream, I just tend to think heavy and maybe a bit oily. This is totally not that. This is just super lightweight in texture, and when it dries down, it leaves a very slight sort of film on my skin that makes it look smooth, almost like a glass skin effect. I found this really calming and hydrating. It was really nice in summer, and it makes a fantastic makeup base. Next is the Centelline 24 Expert Magica Cream Active Renew PDRN. Centelline 24 is a really well-known brand in Korea. It's made by a pharmaceutical company, and it is basically a household name. They're known for really solid, reliable products that are formulated and tested properly. I talked about the Magica cream last time. It is one of their main products and it contains TECA, that titrated extract of Centella Asiatica. I really liked it for helping my skin recover when it was irritated, and this is basically just a version of that with added bonuses. As well as that standard TECA, which is really nice and soothing, it also has panthenol, which is a form of vitamin B5. It's another classic soothing skincare ingredient. There's also PDRN in this. It is on the front of their tube 3 times. I cannot overemphasize how ridiculously trending and hyped it is right now, but it is soothing, which makes sense in this sort of product. They have 5 types in here. They have salmon, rose, centella, heartleaf, and marine. I think marine means it comes from marine algae. Anyway, this is a recovery product, but it also has firming effects which have been shown in their clinical testing. Recently, I did a whole bunch of sunscreen stick testing and I made this massive rookie mistake. I tested 5 sticks really quickly on the same day, which meant I had to wash my face 5 times really thoroughly to make sure I had a fresh base for the UV camera test every time. By the end, my face was stinging so badly, it was stinging with even water. Essentially, what I had done was over-exfoliation. This happens to so many people when they start with skincare and they get too excited. I had removed too many layers of dead skin from the surface of my face. Basically, I had washed a whole bunch of my skin barrier down the drain. Everything was just hurting and stinging and raw. I was just too excited to find out what the results of my tests were. I was like tempted to do a 6th test, but I knew that I had done too much and I needed to baby my face and let it recover before I could use normal skincare or do more tests. So it seemed like the perfect time to test this, and it worked really well. I expected it to take maybe a week and a half to recover because the first few days my skin was just so bad. It was just peeling. There were all these like thick flakes. It felt super, super rough. And even my husband Omar, he could feel how rough it was with his like gym callousy hands. So I just used this every night, and by day 3 or 4, my skin just felt fine. And then by day 5, all the rough bits were gone and I had absolutely zero stinging on my skin. I even accidentally used a peeling gel and that was fine. This does have a few essential oils in it, which is why it has a light lavender sort of smell. So be careful if you are sensitive to essential oils. If you're not, then it should be fine. I personally have reacted to some essential oil products in the past, but this gave me zero issues. Next is the Hint's Raw Glow Gel Tint in Raw Apricot. I have always been a massive fan of lip stains. I have olive-ish colouring, and without lip colour on, I look sometimes like a bit of a dead zombie. And of course, I am really forgetful, so I always forget to reapply my lip colour after I eat and drink. But the big problem with lip stains, they tend to cling to dry patches, so you end up with really uneven colour, and they are quite drying as well. So that uneven patchy issue just gets worse and worse. The best products I've tried before were probably the Revlon Balm Stains. They were really nice, but they still weren't quite as hydrating as I wanted. But the Hint's Raw Glow Gel Tint is the most hydrating product I've tried so far, and it still gives a really nice stain. This comes in a whole bunch of different shades. I think the standard range has maybe 23. This is Raw Apricot, which is the warmest one I think they have. It is what I've been wearing today. The way the colour works is really interesting. It doesn't collect in lip lines, and it has a sort of blurring gradient lip sort of effect. It has a sheer colour if you only put on one layer, but then it builds up really, really easily. I've seen a lot of people use this for a really natural, your lips but better sort of look, but with my hair I need bright, and somehow I have managed to get bright out of this as well, just with a few more layers. This is what it looks like after a bunch of drinking out of a glass. If you have a thin layer or if you've blotted it down, it's really not that shiny, but you can also put on a thick layer and it gives this plush gloss kind of look. It smells like a Tony Moly peach hand cream that I used to have. The little angled doe foot makes it really easy to apply, and the tube is somehow not at all messy. I've been super impressed with this because I'm used to like matte Asian lip products that just don't really work well for my lips that dry out really easily. This is just so nice and versatile in terms of both the finish as well as the colour. It works so well for so many situations. I will probably be buying a lot more shades of this. Next is the Adore Moisture Balancing Shampoo. This is the first product I've tried from Adore. They are a really hyped up Korean haircare brand. Jimin from BTS is currently sponsored by them. But they have been around for a really long time before that. They are a professional salon haircare brand, and unlike a lot of the other ones, they are relatively affordable. This shampoo comes in a giant pump bottle. The pump itself is really nice. This is a bit over half a litre. The shampoo is really nice and non-stripping, even though I felt like it cleaned quite well. It has pyrethronolamine, which is an anti-dandruff ingredient which is really good for controlling itching. And there's also a bunch of herbal extracts that also help with this as well. This is the moisture balancing version, which honestly is not the best match for my hair, especially right now because I've been trying to stretch out the time between my shampoos. That's because of my hair colour. Water is the main thing that strips hair dye, but when I was washing my hair daily, there were a whole bunch that would make my hair just feel really frizzy and dry. With this one, it felt really nice when I was using it daily. This didn't make my hair feel squeaky or rough, it didn't strip my hair dye much. I think this is a fantastic option if you have hair that maybe needs a bit more oil, your skin is on the dry side, or if you wash your hair daily and you don't want that stripping. Next, I'm talking about one of my longtime favourite sunscreens since most of you are going into summer. It is the Hurry Hurry Wonder Black Rice Moisture Airy Fit Daily Sunscreen. Sunscreen is the most important skincare product. Anti-wrinkle and brightening products are kind of wasted if you're not already using a sunscreen. Now this one, I think I first started reviewing in 2023. It has a relatively unique formula as far as Korean sunscreens go. It doesn't have MBBT, which is one of the ingredients that gives a bit of a white cast with Korean sunscreens, so if you've had trouble with that, then this one is a good one to try. I personally found this pretty moisturizing, but still pretty matte. It sits really nicely under makeup. I haven't had trouble with this and any of the makeup I've tried, which has been quite a lot. It's really lightweight and it's great for oily skin. Note that this is not water resistant, so I wouldn't recommend this if you're moving around a lot or sweating a lot. Also, if you're getting a ton of sun exposure, for those situations, I recommend getting a sunscreen from your local store so you don't have to worry about what's going on during shipping. All of these products are available from Stylevana. You can use my code for a discount. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've tried these products, what you thought, and what other products you want me to try out.